Philadelphia's loss to the 49ers was the most brutal of the entire season, but also the most predictable based on the entire season. Although when you actually see the details behind the play calling from Sunday night, you might personally drive to the Eagles facility yourself and fire Kevin Patullo this morning, which according to Adam Schefter might actually be happening sooner than we all thought. Plus, why Vic Fangio's defense failed in their biggest moment, what A.J. Brown didn't say after the game that speaks volumes on his future in Philadelphia. The offseason, well, it's here, and changes, they are already beginning. Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Everyone in Philadelphia knew deep down, entering Sunday afternoon, what was probably going to happen. Like, sure, all of us, including me, hoped that the most expensive offense in the NFL would somehow be able to move the ball on the most banged-up defense in the entire playoffs for at least more than 2 quarters. And surely the Birds' best defense in maybe a decade, I've been saying that, would be able to slow down Brock Purdy and a bunch of nobodies. But again, deep down, we all fully expected Jake Elliott to miss a critical extra point, A.J. Brown to talk all year and yet make 3 critical drops, Kevin Patullo's offense, what a surprise, to lay an absolute play-calling egg in the second half, and this defense to get 0 pressure all game long and be shredded when it mattered most. And sure enough, all of that actually happened and a whole lot more. And if you're wondering just how long this morning it's going to take to make all the changes necessary to get back to their 2024 form, well, you're going to like the news Adam Schefter dropped a couple of hours ago. My real question, though, at least this morning, is how many other changes are actually going to happen, and do they actually go all the way to the top? First, though, I was trying to give away this Immortal Moments Jordan Spector, really awesome Devontae Smith trading card on today's show, but nobody on my Saturday show correctly predicted all the wild card winners because everybody picked Philadelphia, which, happens. So let's do something new today. If you want to win this bad boy this week, drop a like on today's video and leave any comment down below. The most liked comment on today's video and my second video this week will be the 2 finalists, and I'll pick one of them to win this bad boy. So give me your best comment. Let's see who likes the most. And why don't you go down below and drop a like on some of your favorite comments as well. Now, it's super easy to know exactly where to begin last night, and obviously it has to be with the Eagles offense, who, once again, they look competent. They were driving the football down the field. They were scoring touchdowns in the first half. I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And then, what do you know? After halftime, what adjustments did KP make? Well, of course, they were all the wrong ones. Philadelphia averaged 5.3 yards per play on first down in the first half, and then 1.5 on first down in the second half. And likewise, after halftime, Philadelphia went under center 7 times. Oh my gosh. And then they ran the ball on all 7 plays with 0 play action and 0 creativity. As a whole, Philadelphia had 8 games this season where they scored 7 points or less in the second half. 8 games this season. It's inexcusable. It's unbelievable, but it's also totally predictable because Kevin Patullo was their offensive coordinator, and yesterday was a microcosm of the entire Kevin Patullo experience. When you actually look at the details behind the plays that were called in the second half, it's going to make you want to go absolutely insane this morning.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed, and like you said, good first half. Didn't do a good enough job coaching. Didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. In that third quarter, particularly, some penalties got us behind the sticks, and we had a hard time overcoming them.
At the end of the day, we didn't make the plays when we needed to make them, and that's something that we're all looking in internally first.
Jalen, your general thoughts on the offense this season, kind of the up and down nature of it?
Obviously, you want more consistency. And there's a desire to improve steadily throughout the year, but, hard to look at it from a big picture perspective right now. I think just having the opportunity to go make something happen and not doing so for whatever reason, those are the things that we all have to improve from.
Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Maeve. Now, most of you guys know, but I have a golden retriever. Her name is Ember. She's 7 years old, but she actually just became a big sister. And it's a brand new baby, a human baby at home. And since she's got a brand new human to look out for, I've been way more intentional about her health, making sure her energy, her digestion, and most importantly, her mobility are all on point. And I think by now it's been 6 months or 7 months, 8 months, whatever it's been a long time since she went from her dry, terrible kibble, I can't believe we gave that to her for so many years, to Maeve's human-grade, whole ingredient food. And the best part about Maeve, at least to me, is the transparency, because all it takes is opening the bag. You'll see real, whole ingredients you actually recognize. There's no fillers, no weird byproducts, just real, actual food. And Ember is obviously the benefactor here because her coat is shinier, her breath, I didn't think about this, but it's actually better. And at 7 years old, she has so much more energy and is acting like a puppy again. Plus, even my mom's picky dog, Howie, she's really cute, you see her right here, she was not eating her previous food, and so I said, Mom, try Maeve, and now she will literally not eat anything else. Howie loves Maeve as well. So, of course, if you have a dog and want to try out Maeve, link them in my description box or scan the QR code, which is somewhere right over here. Use my promo code Thomas, and you'll get 20% off your first order. Try it once. Trust me, your dog's going to love it. You watching right now, and even myself, we're not offensive geniuses. I couldn't get out there and, call perfect plays on offense, but I can at least tell you from watching on the couch that Kevin Patullo is the worst offensive coordinator I've ever seen in Philadelphia. That's saying a lot, and easily the worst in the National Football League. It doesn't take a mastermind in the NFL offensively to see and understand that. And I want to show you, it's a little bit long here, this clip I found this morning from none other than Dan Orlovsky, a former quarterback in the National Football League, on his Twitter account, going through every single play from Philadelphia's final offensive drive. They need to go down and score to win. Watch this and try not to rip your hair out with absolute rage.
All right, this is the final drive. I just don't know, 254, I just don't know how much advantage is created. All right, so we line up in 2 by 2, okay? Tight end in the slot up top, and we run basically 4 verts with stops outside. So he's got a seam, stop route outside, back, check choice. Okay, so these guys do a good job carrying. Safeties are sitting inside for the benders. Ball's got to be checked down to the back. All right, so that's the first play. All right, 2 by 2, basically flip the formation. I'm just gonna run 2 guys into each other here, back into flat, curl route. This guy does a good job of getting depth. His depth forces a check down. I don't really necessarily know all great about that. Okay, next time, 2 by 2, a short motion. AJ wins the line of scrimmage, dropped by AJ. Looks like it's gonna be a disastrous play. This time they get an empty. Okay, they run mesh, really mesh with the crosser. It's a good ball to Goddard on the crosser. Okay, so not overly creative. Okay, they went on 4th down, so they went 4 verticals essentially. A double slants, I'll call it, whatever. Okay, 2 by 2, short motion. All right. Kind of running mesh here with it out. Okay, shallow cross hits. Good. All right, so kind of some of the same stuff. 2 by 2. They're gonna run spot. Okay, so Devontae pushes up versus the zone, back in the flat. Dallas just pushes vertical, spot. Okay, so again, not a overly creative stuff. Okay, same formation. We run the same play. All right. Just run the same exact play. So we've run 4 verts, double slant, and then we run mesh, spot. Okay, 2nd down. 2 by 2. We're gonna run, I don't necessarily know what this is. Looks like double slants again. Don't necessarily know up top what that is. Nowhere necessarily great to go with the football. Okay, we run around, throw it away. 3rd down. We get into a bunch. I like that. We get into a bunch. Okay, Dotson goes down, pins the backer, wide end Devontae. Slant comes in, ball's high. I don't know what's going on the backside because AJ looks like he might be running a crosser, but then safety goes. So we're not occupying the backside safety in any way. Okay, tough catch. Would like the ball lower. He's good enough to make the catch, but I think it's a tough catch. I think the throw makes it a tough catch. Throw needs to be on his face, okay? Can't call that timeout because then you can't stop the clock once again. And then we're gonna line up in 2 by 2, and we are gonna end the drive the way we started the drive. 4 verts. Whew. Tough. That's tough.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the 4th down play alone. Not only does Philadelphia waste a much-needed timeout, but then you see here, the brain trust of Sirianni Patullo, offensive masterminds on the sideline, to get to their best play possible, which is inevitably 4 verticals against shell coverage, a play that has 0 chance of working 99 times out of 100.
I mean, they played cover 4 structure, and I didn't make the play. I own it. I own it all.
In the second half alone, Kevin Patullo's offense created a total of just 107 yards against one of the worst statistical defenses in the entire NFL. And as a whole, took the best offense in football a year ago and turned them into a bottom third offense in nearly every major category. Arguably, this isn't even really arguably, this is one of the worst offensive coaching performances I've seen in my 29 years of life. But again, we all know this. I'm not saying anything new. Every single fan in Philadelphia has known this since really week 1. I mean, after the bye week, they should have made changes, but we've all known that this was going to be the case. And everybody deep down knew the offense was going to lay an egg, especially in the postseason. But the real question this morning is, how long will it take for them to fire Kevin Patullo? And according to Adam Schefter a couple of hours ago, it's not going to be very long. Schefter confirmed today that Kevin Patullo will be fired, and the search for an experienced coordinator, what do you know, will officially begin. With Dork Sam also mentioning, quote, mass changes expected as early as this week. Heck, by the time you watch this video, Kevin Patullo might already have been fired. I'm 99% sure it's coming because good offensive coordinators are out there to be had, and Philadelphia's got to get rid of theirs first before they can start making interviews and finally make a much-needed change. And that's great. Honestly, they should fire Kevin Patullo. We know this. But what's infuriating is we should never have been here in the first place. Philadelphia has shown us in the past what happens when they hire internally an incompetent guy who has never called plays ever in Philadelphia history, ever in league history. It doesn't work out. We should have hired an experienced offensive coordinator from the get-go following the Kellen Moore experience. We chose not to. And that goes back to one person and one person only. Kevin Patullo has been an offensive coach in the NFL for 10 years. And yet no one in that entire 10-year span ever offered him even a play-calling job in the entire league. Yet Nick Sirianni, starts with him, decided to give KP control of the offense. And worst of all, never decided to take it back when everyone in the world could see it had flaws from the get-go.
There'll be time to evaluate everything at the end, coming up.
It's tough to single out one individual, especially in a moment like this. We all got to improve. And that's how I look at everything that we go through.
Nick and Jalen can talk all they want about execution this, and it's not on one person, it's on all of us. I've got to be better. And that's true. We'll talk about execution, looking at you, A.J. Brown. But it truly does start with one person. This entire season comes down to one person, and it's not Kevin Patullo, it's not Jalen Hurts, it's not A.J. Brown, it's Nick Sirianni. I honestly would consider firing Nick Sirianni today. Now, personally, I don't think it would happen, let me be clear, but I personally would seriously consider it. This season was not a one-off. That's the most important factor. This is the exact same outcome from the 2023 season, literally down to a cross T and a dotted I. And sure, we can go get an experienced offensive coordinator, and I expect them to do that. But then what happens when that coordinator then gets a head coaching job 1 year later? I think Sirianni has time and time again proven that he can't fix things, especially offensively, when they start to unravel. And if you aren't some offensive genius, then what do you actually do? Because his whole motto is tough, detailed, and together. And that obviously did not happen once, literally the entire season. Unless he has elite coordinators on both sides of the football, even with the best roster in football heading into this year, he's not been able to get his football team past the first round of the playoffs 3 seasons out of 5. Again, I don't think they're going to fire Nick Sirianni. I just don't think that Jeffrey Lurie wants to do it. I don't think Howie Roseman wants to do it. I think that obviously he just won a Super Bowl. He just got a contract extension. But the buck stops at the head coach. And the worst part about Nick Sirianni is not that he hired Kevin Patullo, it's that he let it continue and had no way to fix it when it clearly unraveled from the get-go. It wasn't good from the get-go. And it starts with Nick Sirianni. He's the head coach. The buck stops with the head coach. I mean, the list of head coaches still alive in the playoffs include offensive genius Sean Payton, offensive genius Ben Johnson, offensive genius Kyle Shanahan, offensive genius Sean McVay, defensive genius Mike McDonald, defensive genius Mike Vrabel, and the outlier who happens to have the best quarterback left in the entire playoffs, Sean McDermott. I'll talk plenty more in my next couple of videos who I would go after as a head coach. I think that there are plenty of options right now. Whether it's Harbaugh, I know a lot of people don't like the idea of Harbaugh, Stefanski, might be Daniels, somebody else, but I don't think it's going to happen. And so let's just be very, very clear. Unless an absolute bombshell drops today or tomorrow, we'll obviously cover it. Sirianni's going to stay. They're going to fire Kevin Patullo very, very soon and then go get an experienced offensive coordinator in. We're going to have to hope that that's hopefully good enough. Now, coaching is obviously number one, but also execution does matter. And the players, they've been preaching it all year long. And what do you know? Penalties happened again, drops once again, and as they said post-game, that sunk the birds in the end.
I think we all could have been better. At the end of the day, we as a collective didn't make enough plays. People are going to have their opinions, and people are going to say what they want to say. I'm really not in the right mindset right now to kind of expand on what I think. Fresh off a loss, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, more with myself. I'm a big believer you got to start with yourself. And throughout the season, didn't make enough plays, and today, didn't make enough plays. And I think if we all hold ourselves accountable and stay true to ourselves, we all will be able to say the same thing.
I think right now, just as a player, it's the same story. Early penalties, shooting ourselves in the foot, and then execution of crucial downs. Guys, whether it be me or someone else, just one block away. Same story every week, but it's pretty much how I sum it up, just from the get-go, just from the onset.
How frustrating is that, though?
That's super frustrating.
And none were worse than A.J. Brown's. Not one, but 3 huge drops throughout the entire game. As in total, Philadelphia had more third down drops last night than the entire regular season combined. And while I love A.J. Brown as a player, this game, though, was a microcosm of his entire season. I've heard the argument that maybe he's lost a step, which may be true, who knows. Brown's been rightfully, I think, upset at the offense the entire year, because all of us have been. Again, he has been 100% right. But you can't take to social media and cause the drama that he's done the past couple of seasons, wanting the football, demanding changes, and then failing 3 times in a game to go ahead and catch 1 critical pass. Plus, much as I hate Nick Sirianni yelling at AJ on the sideline, again, it goes back to Nick Sirianni, AJ was slow to get off the football field. He's pouting here after one of these drops, which naturally causes Nick Sirianni to yell, "Get off the football field." It's a bad look for Nick Sirianni, but it starts with AJ Brown.
I was trying to get him off the field, because we were about to punt, and that was really it. So I love AJ. I think he knows how I feel about him. I have a special relationship with him. We've probably went through every emotion you can possibly have together. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've yelled at each other. We're both emotional. I was trying to get him off the field, and you never want that happens in this game. That happens in this game, but I love him.
And then, of course, A.J. Brown, post-game, declined to speak to the media and reportedly just simply went around the locker room, dapped up his teammates, and immediately left Lincoln Financial Field. Again, a bad look for somebody so vocal during the regular season to not own up to his mistakes and talk to the media one last time. I love A.J. Brown. He's the best receiver in Philadelphia Eagle history, in my opinion. He's the reason we won so many games the past couple of seasons, but I personally don't think he stays in Philadelphia in 2026. I think it's going to be his decision. Obviously, the cap space, the dead cap hit, that's a real problem. They do have some relief post-June 1st, which we'll talk about in future videos, but my guess is A.J. Brown is going to go to the front office, demand a trade, and Philadelphia, weighing the drama, weighing his age, weighing production, will probably grant him that trade at some point in the next couple of months. And of course, he's not going to be the only one. There will be plenty of Eagles gone in free agency, which I know we have plenty of videos in the future. I'll talk about all of them. But Jake Elliott, for example, will for sure be one of them, as he's now set an NFL record last night for the most missed extra points in an NFL season with 6. None more costly than, of course, the one that made it a 4-point loss instead of a 3-point loss that could have kicked a field goal in the final drive. Missy Elliott, I appreciate your work. I'm sorry, but you have got to go. One person staying, however, is going to be Jalen Hurts. And while he definitely deserves criticism, he made 0 plays last night that were game-changing. Like, he didn't take over that football game, but there are a lot of people trying to blame Jalen Hurts this morning, although I think most Eagle fans understand the play calling is a problem, plus the drops too, a couple of good throws there. Jalen, though, I still love the guy, and I still think he'll be your quarterback going forward. I just need him to elevate a little bit more, even despite the terrible play calling. But of course, what is he supposed to do when he had just one designed quarterback run the entire day, called back for a penalty? And as a whole, he's had nearly half the designed quarterback runs, maybe the best part of his game from this year versus last year. And again, with 2 competent offensive coordinators in his Eagles tenure, he's gone to the Super Bowl and outdueled Patrick Mahomes in both. With 2 incompetent offensive coordinators, he's gotten his team to the playoffs, he's drugged them across the finish line, but not been able to do anything when it matters in the wildcard round. I'm, of course, not absolving Jalen Hurts of all the blame. Again, I said it. He was not special last night. He makes 1 or 2 big plays there. They probably win that football game, but he did convert that 4th and 5. He put 3 footballs right into the hands of A.J. Brown. He catches any of those, Philadelphia probably wins. I give him a pass. He's going to be the quarterback of the future, whether you love him or not, but I don't know. It just wasn't magical. And I do think the same kind of goes for the defense as with Jalen Hurts because, one, in no world should Brock Purdy, without George Kittle, be able to carve you up drive after drive after drive. All those explosive plays to no-name receivers, completely unacceptable. Plus, no pressure. Brock Purdy, he was basically clean the entire game. But they did create 2 turnovers. They did get stops. They did force 3 and outs. Those 2 turnovers gave the offense the football twice near midfield, and both times Philadelphia did absolutely nothing with it.
I want to say we left it out there. I mean, they made more plays than us today. It was a new season, you know, and the postseason is a new season. Everybody's 0-0, and we just happened to lose. That was it, really. I mean, I know everybody gonna look at the film. We probably ain't gonna look at it together now because it's the end of the season. But everybody gonna look at the film. We're gonna see things that you can get better at. But yeah, they made more plays than us.
Like I said, this is one of the toughest things about football and about life. Like, you go through the challenges throughout the year, training camp, whatever, and, you know, you create these relationships, these bonds, and, you know, it ends so fast, and, you know, you're not really prepared for it. And it's tough. I mean, it sucks. But, you know, that's football, that's life. You know, we just got to learn from this and grow from it.
And to me, the defensive performance was more about Kyle Shanahan being a great offensive play caller and showing Philadelphia what happens when you have said great offensive play caller. You can still carve up very, very good defenses. Your quarterback plays well, your offensive line blocks well, and you can scheme things open. And that is the main difference between Philadelphia right now and the rest of the National Football League, and why, despite the fact the Eagle defense only gave up 23 points, in reality, they should have been good enough to win that game. It still was not good enough because Kyle Shanahan completely out-schemed, out-coached, and had his way, really, with the Philadelphia defense. I do think as a whole, though, we have to mention the front office briefly here because they are a part of the whole debacle. Nick Sirianni is the head coach. He's the leader of the team. We talked about that. But Howie is technically above him in the pecking order, and Jeffrey Lurie is above Howie. The fact that nobody, and I'm going back to this again, but it still makes me mad, stepped in, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago, and said this is inexcusable on offense is a huge reason why Philadelphia's Super Bowl window, many believe, is officially gone. Although technically, not to be a full Debbie Downer here, they did win a Super Bowl during said window, but maybe now it could be closed. However, if there is one person who maybe can step in, take back control from Nick Sirianni, and get this thing back on track, it's going to be Howie Roseman. As Howie should play a major part in Philadelphia, retooling the roster, making trades, having good draft picks, and of course, going outside the building to hire an offensive coordinator, because when Nick Sirianni chooses internal candidates, Philadelphia is barely, 5 games above 500, yet when they go outside the building, they are 30 games over 500. It's not a difficult decision. Howie, Jeffrey, step in, take control. But there is at least a positive today, and I think most Eagle fans I've seen on Twitter are in the same exact boat. Yes, we're mad that they lost. Yes, we wanted them to advance. But deep down, we all knew that this offense was not going to be good enough because of the coaching. And the fact that they were able to lose the first game means you're guaranteed to get rid of Kevin Patullo and maybe even Nick Sirianni. Had they won that game last night, they scored in a game-winning drive, there was a report pre-game that if they win just one, Kevin Patullo is going to go ahead and come back. And that would have been an absolute disaster because they wouldn't have made the Super Bowl. They wouldn't have won 2 more, or I guess 3 more games to win a Super Bowl, 2 more in the NFC with Kevin Patullo. And so losing now rips the Band-Aid off. You get rid of the people that you don't want in the building, and you can do a soft reset here and hopefully get back to the 2024 version of Philadelphia Eagles. In the end, though, Philadelphia is about to go through a ton of changes all over the place. They have double-digit free agents with bottom 3 cap space to retain them. They have impressive young players that need contract extensions, and are going to be at the expense of beloved veterans. And I'll, of course, cover all of that, but right now we turn to Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie to make the right firings, retain the right players, and get this football team back on track. And they can do it. I feel confident. And while I feel, less confident today just because of how ugly it was yesterday, and I feel deflated, and it's been absolutely rough the past 12 hours. I'm sure you feel the exact same way. I want to finish today's video by simply saying thank you, because I know a lot of people stop watching my channel after the season is over. They wait until the next season. But if you're not going to watch the next couple of months, I do want to thank you for what was an incredible season. This was one of the most watched Eagles channels in the entire world. You guys have absolutely blown this channel up. It's now my full-time job, and I cannot thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart. Entering the giveaways, I try to give back that way, watching the videos, dropping likes, hitting the hype button. But I will ask one thing from you. If you normally don't watch this channel during the offseason, give it a try, because Philadelphia is going to make a lot of changes, and that's what I do. I'm going to cover every single offseason change, every single offseason rumor, potential move. The draft's going to come up, OTAs. The season might not happen until, August, essentially for training camp. There's a lot that's going to happen in between, and you watching my show, it helps, because this is my job. And so I would just ask you guys to keep watching, keep commenting, keep enjoying, and let's do this together as we look forward to Philadelphia, hopefully with a fast retooling, not a rebuilding. And it's going to start pretty darn soon. And so drop a like, be subscribed, and buckle up. This could be the wildest offseason Philadelphia's had in a long time because of the draft capital that they have, the fact that Howie Roseman looms large, and they're going to make some serious coaching changes, whether it's the head coach, for sure the offensive coordinator, and beyond. We'll see, but I'll go ahead and cover it all. I'm Thomas Mott. I'm devastated. I just didn't want to do this video today. It's why it's a little bit later, but what are you going to do? The rebuild begins. The retooling begins. 2026 starts now. It's going to be a lot, and we're going to cover every little bit of it here. I appreciate you guys. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.